to these things. So suppose somebody says, go past the town hall. So go past the town hall means go beyond that. So past is also a preposition. So prepositions play a major role in answering questions on maps. Another type of questions on maps can be where you get a list. Again, it's a multiple choice, but of a different kind. You get a list selection. So what should the students carry with them? And you may get a long list, maybe boots, raincoat, torch, rope, etc. Long list might be there. You will hear all those words, but then understand which ones the speaker negates. Okay, rope will be available to you. So you hear rope, but rope will be made available to you. That means you don't have to carry a rope. So understand it this way. The moment you start focusing on this, map questions will not be difficult at all. That's the way to answer the map questions. Okay, so you get different types of questions. Listening, many students get 9 band score. Even you can get. Even you can get here a band score 9. So if you go to YouTube also and you take any test, those free tests are there, you must analyze your answer. Analyze why your answer is wrong, which one is wrong, analyze that. What is it that you missed? Analyze that. Without analysis, do not take the next test. Do not just keep taking tests. That's what I would suggest. So Poonam, okay, Simrandeep has asked me a question. Are the questions always in the same order as the recording? Yes, they are, except for 1 or 2. Except for 1 or 2. They are in order. So you must focus on it. Except for 1 or 2, you'll find all your answers in order. So 1 or 2 may not be in order when it comes to that list selection. So list selection may not be in order. So all may not be in order, but yes, most of them, except for 1 or 2 questions, all are in order. Understand this, all of them are in order. I hope I've answered your questions, Poonam, Simran, and Chahat. So let's move on. So when you start taking the test, the first that you face is the listening test, right? 40 questions. Now, how do you get the band score in this? Don't focus on this. This should not be your target. Out of 40, you get 22 correct, not your target, practice. Yes, 7, 6.5, but 7 is the ideal one. Otherwise, some colleges may take you, it depends on the college to which you plan to go. Some may accept 6.5, but then target something beyond 7. So if you get 30 to 32 answers correct, you get a band score 7. That means practice in such a way that you do not get more than 8 or 10 wrong. But yes, nothing like getting a full band score like band score 9. 7.5 you get if you have 33 to 34 correct, and 8.5, 38 to 39 correct. And of course, if you get all 40 correct, you get band score 9. That's how the band score is. So don't target anything less than 30 answers correct. So at minimum 30 answers for the academic students. For general, of course, it's always band score 8 in listening that's needed. But for academic students, even 7 is accepted. And I'm sure with some practice, you all will be able to get at least 7. Not difficult. Reading test. Reading for the IELTS academic students is slightly difficult. It's a little more difficult than the general students. At times that kind of comparison is there. But you can make it easy for yourself if you get into the habit of reading. So read the editorial section of newspapers, read journals, read magazines, read regularly. If you read every day, and in fact, Mr. Sidhu mentioned about discussing, holding discussions and all, that's how you even prepare yourselves for the interviews also, because current affairs section, and here you prepare yourself for reading. So why not make groups? You can make your online groups also and discuss. Read something and discuss. Read and discuss. What will happen because of that? Your comprehension skills will improve. Vocabulary. So vocabulary is on the higher side in IELTS academic reading. Understand words. Become familiar with new words. If you read these articles, given the online articles, Indian Express, Hindu, if you read their articles also on different topics, every day you can learn some new words. So those are the types of words you can expect in your reading exam. So read a lot. You want to do well, read a lot. Is the reading test which most of the students find difficult. Of course, the others are there, but many find the reading test difficult. Now, in the academic test, there are 3 sections. So you have 3 sections. In each section, there is one long passage, around 800 words. That's the average length of the passage. So you get long passages, one long passage in each section. And it can be taken from newspapers, books, journals, magazines, anywhere. But if you are a well-read person, if you are in the habit of reading, you will not find it difficult. Okay, which exam is better, IELTS or GRE? It depends upon what your university requires. Some universities may require only the GRE score and not the IELTS, but most of them take the IELTS. Most of them take the IELTS score. So find out, wherever you wish to go, just find out from there, what is it that the university wants. Some of them take both GRE and IELTS, but yes, most of them take the IELTS score. That's how it is. Now, these are the different types of questions that you can expect in the reading test. Again, some are similar as to your listening, like summary completion questions, notes, flowchart completion, table completion questions. So these are similar ones. But in reading, these ones, matching headings. Many students find this difficult. Matching headings, that means different paragraphs are there, A, B, C, D, E, they're labeled like that, and you get questions. So what should be the strategy of reading? And this is what you need to apply even while reading articles from the newspapers. Step 1 is skimming. Don't read the questions first, because if you read the questions first, how will you know what? First, at least understand the layout of the passage. Just have a glance at it. Okay, this is the heading, this is a subheading. Just go through the passage quickly, each paragraph, understand what is given in each paragraph. The first sentence, read it carefully, first sentence of each paragraph. So the first paragraph, then the first sentence of each paragraph, the last paragraph, it will give you a good idea of what that passage is all about. And when you read the passages, when you go through them, the middle of the paragraph tells you what information that paragraph has mainly. So when it comes to matching headings or matching paragraph information questions, what will help you? The middle of the paragraph, the first sentence and the middle of the paragraph, the second and the third, or maybe the third and the fourth sentences. Read those, and these can definitely be answered with accuracy. Now, true, false, not given, or yes, no, not given questions, similar, but true, false, not given questions are based on facts. Those facts are there or those facts are not there. Yes, no, not given, like the claim made by the author or the opinion of the author. So it's there or it's not there. How should you attempt these? How can you get more accuracy in these? Understand that the sentence that you get, or the question that you get, it is something about somebody or something. So the subject, somebody or something, is present in the passage, match it. Yes, it is present. Then what is said about that somebody or something? Is that mentioned? If it is mentioned, then it is mentioned. So you cannot say it is not given. Next thing that you need to see is it mentioned the same way? Now, questions are paraphrased. Please understand, even in listening also, they are paraphrased. Paraphrase means you might hear a similar word, a word having a similar meaning, but not exactly the same word. Here also the questions may be paraphrased. For examples, if somewhere purchase is written in the passage, it may be buy, or somewhere ingredients is written in the question. In the passage, it may be raw materials. So the words are paraphrased. So understand if the paraphrase that is given in the passage means the same as what is given in the question. If it means the same, that means it's true. If it means something opposite, it means it is false, or yes or no, similarly. So information about somebody or something given or not given, first is to check that. And these questions come in order. Now, when it comes to matching headings, of course, you'll be given paragraph A, B, C, D. Matching paragraph information questions also, mostly paragraph A, B, C, D, that is mentioned. True, false, not given questions come in order. Yes, no, not given questions come in order. Sentence completion questions also. Things are paraphrased. So another skill that's important in reading is, and even in listening, everywhere in fact in IELTS, is paraphrase. So when you understand some new words, you come across new words, also note down the synonym, note down the meaning, the synonym, similar meaning words. Then you can also get the notes, flowchart completion, diagram labeling questions. A diagram can be given based on that. Everything comes in order. Multiple choice questions are there. The way you get in listening, here also, look at the question stem and go back to the passage, scan for that question stem, understand what is given over there, match it with the options, eliminate the wrong ones, and select the right one. Suitable heading questions, Chahat, the middle of the paragraph, because you are given A, B, C, D, E, and then more options. Suppose A, B, C, D, E, 5. You may have 8 options for selecting the paragraph heading. Now, how do you select which one? Go back to that paragraph, read that paragraph, scan it, read it properly. Pay attention to the first sentence and the middle of the paragraph. The moment you read the middle of the paragraph, you'll be able to get the correct heading. Match it then, because you'll understand what it is about. That's what it is. So others are like choosing the title. If your passage is without a title, then you're asked to give a title for it. Short answer questions. Now, in short answer questions or notes, flowchart completion, one in listening, give your answer in one word only. No more than one word or a number. No more than 2 words and a number or a number. Pay attention to this. Give the correct letters. See, the English alphabet has 26 letters. They are not alphabets. A, B, C, D are letters. So if you're asked to write the letter in your answer, write the correct letter. If you're asked to write the word, 1 word or 2 words only. So somewhere if you're asked to write maybe 1 word and you write 2 words in the answer, your answer will be considered wrong. Wrong spelling, wrong answer. Wrong punctuation, wrong answer. Wrong punctuation means somewhere, same rule for listening and reading. Somewhere you have to write that word with a capital letter and you write it using a small letter, then it will be considered wrong. Somewhere you have to write it with a small letter and you use a capital letter to begin the word, it will be considered wrong. So punctuation is important. Punctuation wrong means 0 mark. Wrong spelling means 0 marks. So you lose, there's no negative marking. Attempt all the questions. So there's no negative marking. Attempt all, but be careful, the spellings, the punctuation. And to be on the safer side of the punctuation, you can answer all your questions in capital letters, all caps, uppercase. You can write the complete word using that, that is accepted. And use a pencil. I would suggest use a pencil to write your answers. You can erase, it will remain neat and tidy. Use a pencil to write your answers, because it'll be very difficult to erase what you write using a pen. So you can use a pencil to write your answers. So this way, different types of questions are there. Each question carries 1 mark in both reading and listening. Each question carries 1 mark. Do not leave any question, please. In listening, if you move on to the next part, you missed something that is gone, don't waste your time on that. Move on. In reading, if you feel you are taking more than a minute to answer any question, that question is not worth it. Move on. You can always go back to it. So 3 passages are there, 20 minutes for each. 20 minutes for each passage. Don't take more than that. Don't spend half an hour on one passage. You'll not be left with much time. Usually, that's how the students also say, usually the last passage is the most difficult. So 20 minutes for each. In fact, if you can finish the first one in 15 minutes, nothing like it. So take about 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes to just skim through it, go to the questions, and when you answer each question, go back to the passage and scan. So that's the time you should read for details. Okay, one question has come. If the answer has 2 words and we write only one, for example, if we write hunting instead of illegal hunting, do we get 0? No, you don't get. It is not more than, it's not that you have to answer in 2 words. You'll get the instruction, not more than 2 words. If logically the sense of the sentence comes only with illegal hunting, then both words will be taken. But if the sense of the answer can be correct with just the word hunting, then only hunting is taken. That's how it is. So logical. So it's not just logical. Logically, does it make sense or not? That's how it has to be. For example, let me give you an example. In the listening test, suppose somewhere it is, let's meet at the Grand Hotel. And in the sentence, you've got, let's meet at the. What should you write in the answer? And if the question is that no more than 1 word, what will you write in the answer then? I repeat, you hear, let's meet at the Grand Hotel. And then the question is, the speakers decide to meet at the, and then there is a blank. And in the question you're given, the answer no more than 1 word. What will you write? Yes, can anyone give me that 1 word? But Chahat, if you write hotel, hotel can be any hotel. There are many practice tests, Cambridge tests are there, plenty of them are there. So when you practice on your own, ensure that you do not get more than 10 wrong. In fact, practice in such a way that only 4 or 5 are wrong, not more than that. And if you can get all correct, nothing like it. Time management. Most of the students face difficulty in reading because they are not able to manage their time. So always put a clock and then practice. The more you are going to read, the better your reading speed is going to be. So it depends upon you how much you read every day. Any questions so far? Let me take you to writing and speaking. Anyone? Anything you would like to ask me? Now, writing test gives nightmares because like I'm from Learning, it's an online platform. And most of the students come to us just for writing or just writing and speaking. Because many are able to manage listening and reading on their own, but then writing, you require somebody to correct it for you. So what is so difficult about writing, and how can it become easy for you? Let's understand it that way. So first you have the listening test for 30 minutes, extra 10 minutes if it's the pen and paper test. Then soon after that, you start the reading test. It lasts for an hour, 60 minutes. And after that, the writing test. The writing test is also for 60 minutes. It's for an hour. And you get 2 tasks in it. We don't call them questions. In a way, there are 2 tasks. Task 1 and task 2. And in task 1, you should write at least 150 words. And in task 2, you should write at least 250 words. This is the way the instruction comes to us. So if somebody tells you write at least 150 words, that means if you write less than 150 words, obviously you will be penalized for it. There's heavy penalty for that. So ensure that you do not write less than 150 in task 1 or less than 250 in task 2. How can you do that? Practice writing at least 170 words for task 1 and 270 words for task 2. So if you practice that way, you'll always be on the safer side. And what's a good length of task 1 and task 2? Task 1, anything between 170 and 190 is considered a good length. And in task 2, the response between 270 and 290 words, a good length. Now remember, no upper limit is given to us. There are many test takers who say, oh, I can write 600 words also. Okay, good. But then will you be able to take care of various parameters? That's what you need to ensure, because there are certain things based on which you are assessed. You will not get additional marks for all those extra words, but you'll definitely get additional marks if your task response is accurate, correct, if your spellings are correct, if your vocabulary is good, if your grammatical range is good, if you write grammatically correct sentences, and there's a good logical flow of points in your response without any repetition. That's how you're going to get a higher band score. So these are the things you should focus on. Yes, do not write less than 150 or 250, but then focus on all these things. Now, how do you get the band score over here? You get a separate band score for task 1, a separate one for task 2, but then the task 2 band score is doubled. Doubled in the sense like 33% weight for task 1 and 66% for task 2. That's how it is. So how much time should you spend on each task? You are advised. Nobody fixes that time for you, but you are just advised that you should take 20 minutes for this task, or you should take 40 minutes for this task. So you are advised to take 20 minutes for task 1 and 40 minutes for task 2. So if you practice this way, you'll be able to complete it in time. If you take around 30 minutes for task 1, obviously you'll not be able to do justice to task 2. Now, how do you get these questions? What do you get? So in IELTS writing task 1, you get a chart, a visual input. I'm sure you all are familiar with bar charts, pie charts, line graphs, tables, maps, diagrams, because in your studies also you must be using these to present certain things. So you are familiar with these. So some information is given in them. You are just asked to summarize the given information. That's it. Now, how do you summarize it without giving your opinion? You just summarize what you see. So you just write about 4 paragraphs. Paragraph 1, you paraphrase the question that is given. Paragraph 2, you just write like overall what is there, the overview of that, the major things you show. Okay, these are the main differences, whatever it is, you just show those. Then some digits are given, some figures are given. Those you mentioned. So the details come in paragraph 3 and 4. Sometimes, very rarely, you may have paragraph 5 also if the details are too many. Only then. Otherwise, 4 paragraphs and its response, good enough answer. At least 150 words. That's the way you should practice. And in writing task 2, you get the question in this way. You get it in 2 parts. One statement. Look at this. In the past, employees worked for small businesses, but now many are working for large businesses. And then you get instructions. Always pay attention to the instructions. Pay attention to the keywords in the question. Now here, it's all about the employees preferring large businesses. Question is what? The instruction is what? Do you think working for large businesses has more advantages than disadvantages? So you'll have to show your preference. the instruction could have been this also. What are the advantages and disadvantages of working for large businesses? So when you are asked just the advantages and disadvantages, one paragraph you write the advantages, another you write the disadvantages, the body paragraph. If you're asked that do you think, that means you've been asked to show your preference, then in that case, in one paragraph, the first paragraph is always in the introductory paragraph. Last paragraph is always the concluding paragraph. That's going to be there in all the essays. We call it an essay. Nowhere essay has been written, but the task 2 response is the essay writing in the IELTS exam. What should you write in the introductory paragraph? You paraphrase this statement. In the past, employees worked for small businesses, but now many are working for large businesses. Whatever you get, you paraphrase. That means say the same thing using different words. Just use different words. So you can use synonyms. You can use a different form of the word. Like now more are employed or more prefer to be employed. So when I say more prefer to be employed, I'm just using a different form of the word. Or you can use a different voice also. So active voice and passive voice. For example, in the past, employees worked for small businesses, or no, this we cannot put in passive. Suppose somewhere it is that some believe that. How can you put it in passive? It is believed by some, or it is believed, it is widely believed that. So you just change the voice from active to passive or passive to active. That is also a paraphrase. Now coming back to the structure of your writing task. So in the first paragraph, the introduction, the last paragraph, conclusion, you just say the same thing. Whatever you say in the first paragraph, you rephrase it in different words. Don't include anything new. In between, the body paragraphs are there. So in the body paragraphs, what should you write and how should you write, right? So body paragraphs can be 2 to 3 body paragraphs. Now here, if the instruction was, what are the advantages and disadvantages? One paragraph advantages, another paragraph disadvantages. But here it is, do you think working for large businesses has more advantages than disadvantages? Then according to you, if you feel that it has more advantages, then 2 paragraphs of advantages and 1 of disadvantage. If you feel it has more disadvantages, 2 paragraphs of disadvantages and 1 of advantage. Whatever you feel, whatever your answer is to this instruction, you must give an overview of that in the first paragraph. That's called your thesis statement. So first paragraph includes the paraphrase of the statement plus your thesis statement. That's your response to the instruction. That's what it should include. Always show the other side first. So if your side is of advantages, then first put the disadvantages one. If your side is of disadvantages, first put the advantages one. Remember, when do we do it? Only when we are asked whether according to us, there are more advantages or disadvantages. If the question is only this, what are the advantages and disadvantages? One paragraph of advantages and the next body paragraph of disadvantages. Other instructions can be like, what's your opinion? Or do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree? Discuss both or discuss both and give your opinion. Always understand the instruction and write your thesis statement and your body paragraphs. That's what you need to do. So this requires practice. Get somebody to evaluate your response. And of course, people like us are always there. Now, how are you assessed in IELTS writing? Task 1, your achievement is seen. Task achievement, whether whatever data is given to you, do you summarize that correctly or not? Do you put in the correct data or not? Somewhere maybe 1950 to 2000 is given in your answer. If you write 1960 to 2000, answer is wrong. And task 2, it is the response. Do you go away from the topic or you remain within the scope of the topic and answer accordingly? So this is not a test of your knowledge. Please do not think, oh, I do not know this. Very general topics are there in the questions, very general. You all can answer. But what do you need to practice? Your grammar, vocabulary, focus on these, and then put all points in a logical manner. That is, coherence is seen. So suppose 1, 2, 3, 4 points are there. We cannot put them in this order, 1, 4, 3, 2. They have to come in that order. And then we must link our points using such words, however, moreover, on the contrary, but. So use those linking words also to connect your points. So if somebody reads the next paragraph, the person should see a connect between that and the previous paragraph. Always focus on this. So coherence and you get a band score in each separately. Many students lose their points in grammatical range and accuracy. Grammatical range, like your paragraph should have complex sentences also. Now, complex sentences come as a surprise to many students, but you all can write. Don't we all use sentences where we use if, whether, unless, because? We all use such sentences. Those are complex sentences. Ensure that every paragraph has one. Your response should be a good mix of active and passive voice. Now, many academic students lose points in task 1 because of the tenses, the wrong tense. Suppose something is given about past, and like how a city was in 1950 and how the city was in 1980. So if I say that in 1980 there were more houses, correct. But if I say by 1980 the number of houses was more, wrong. By 1980 the number of houses had increased. See that a different tense, a past perfect tense. And then can I write about that in present tense? No, it has to be past tense. So understand the tenses properly. Most of the academic students lose their points in task 1 because of this. Task 2, your lexical resource is what? Vocabulary. So your vocabulary should be correct. Which task do you recommend to attempt first? I would recommend attempt task 1. Finish it within 15 minutes, 18 minutes. Don't take more than 18 minutes. I would suggest that. And then relax and write task 2. Remember, so much of pressure is there. Listening test first, then the reading, 1.5 hour. You do not get up. You get up means you lose your time. So if you even get up to go to the washroom, you lose that time. And most of the students become restless and tired by the time it is the writing test. That's the time when you are tired also. So it's better that you are relaxed, you have more time when you attempt task 2. If you finish it first and you take more time, you may be left with very less time for task 1. If you practice enough, you won't even ask this question, which one should we attempt, right? And you see your own strength. That is also there, but I would suggest that finish task 1 first, then move on to task 2. Though, of course, many may disagree, but that's what I would suggest. Any questions here? So these 3 tests are taken together. Speaking is separate. Anyone? Any question? Speaking. So obviously, whatever the other person says, we should be able to understand. When we say something, the other person should be able to comprehend that too. How do we have the speaking test? It comes to you in 3 parts. So each candidate gets a slot of 20 minutes. And your test lasts for 11 to 14 minutes. But there have been students who've told me that their test lasted for 15 minutes, 16 minutes. Well, some exceptions can be there, but usually it is between 11 and 14 minutes. You must carry your passport, of course, with you. So initially when you enter, the pleasantries are exchanged, like you wish, you greet the examiner, you're asked, if you do not give it yourself, you're asked your full name, or you're asked to introduce yourself. Again, when you're asked to introduce yourself, you don't have to tell about what your likes and dislikes, your strengths and weaknesses, nothing, please. Just give your name, what you do, where you're from, nothing else, not more than this and that part. And it is recorded. So soon after that, the recording begins, and then you have part 1, part 2, and part 3. Now, part 1 lasts for 4 to 5 minutes. You are asked about 8 to 10 questions in this on familiar topics. Can be about you, can be something as simple as this, like what do you do? Do you work or study? Then the next question follows. Do you like what you do? This kind of question. If you work somewhere, okay, what are your working hours? You can have a question of this kind. Would you like to do the same type of job in future too? Or is there anything that you dislike about your job? If it's studies, do you like the subjects that you study? Would you like to study the same subject in future? Or it can be something about your name too. Who gave you your name? What's the meaning of your name? This way, very simple questions. It can be about your food also, your favorite food. Can be about your city, can be about your best friend, can be about your school, your favorite teacher. Simple questions are asked. Strategy. Pleasant smile. The way you were told earlier, for the interview, you must have a smile on your face. So be pleasant, be clear, no uhs. If you have uhs, you lose fluency. So just practice. How can you practice? Close your mouth wherever you feel like doing every day you practice so that you have better fluency. Listen to the question carefully. Answer in about 3 sentences over here in part 1. 2 to 3 sentences. And the next question, so you have about 8 to 10 questions here. They can be 2 or 3 topics. Then part 2 comes. In part 2, you get a cues-based question. You get 1 minute to think or make notes. And then the examiner says that you get 1 to 2 minutes to speak. 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Please understand, you need to speak till the examiner stops you. So when you practice in such a way that you continue to speak for 2 minutes, at the same time, cover all those points. Cover all those points. Those cues are given. For instance, suppose it's about, like talk about a person who is well dressed according to you, or talk about your best actor, talk about your best book, any favorite book, any. So talk about your best actor, who he or she is, why, like for how do you know him or her, why you consider him or her to be your best, to be the best, and then would you recommend his or her movies to others, that way. So 4 cues are there. You should cover all these. Now, what's the strategy over here? Practice in such a way that by the time you finish the first point, you're about 15 seconds. So give 2 to 3 sentences for the first cue, about 3 sentences, 2 to 3 for the second cue. By then, 30 seconds will be over. Then have about 4 to 5 sentences for the third cue. So 1 minute will be over. Move on to the fourth one. Like if you have to talk about your feelings or impact of something on you, why you cannot forget something, this way the fourth cue is there, whatever it may be. You keep on talking about it. Suppose you feel, oh, your points are over and the examiner hasn't stopped you. Understand 2 minutes are not up. You need to continue. How can you continue? You can just look at those points and you'll definitely get something or the other. And I forgot to add that. Even when we say, and I forgot to add that, almost 10 seconds, 10, 15 seconds are over, right? And add something about that part to the cue, the second cue or the third cue, add something over there, and by then your 2 minutes will be over. In case you are unable to elaborate on the last point for 2 minutes, this is what you need to do. Then there's a follow-up question, something connected, very simple. And part 3 lasts for 4 to 5 minutes. Questions, these are abstract questions, general questions about the society around you. And these questions are connected to your part 2 questions. But remember, here there can be a lot of cross questioning. Based on the answer that you give, a lot of cross questioning can happen. Don't worry. That's the way it is. Give a lengthier answer in this, about 4 to 5 sentences. Show your preference for one thing or the other thing. Use that kind of language. You must use a signpost language while speaking. And because, moreover, however, on the contrary, but, so that, use such words so that the other person knows you're moving from one point to another. And this is the way you're assessed. You're assessed for your coherence and fluency. Coherence, whatever question is asked, do you answer that or something totally different? Or when you speak, is your speech coherent? That's why signpost language should be used. Signpost means giving indication of moving to another point. Fluency, avoid I mean, open your mouth more. Open your mouth more than you usually do. Practice that way. Then the level of your vocabulary. So here and there, garnish your speech with good vocabulary, with high level vocabulary. Here, use idioms. In your writing, do not use idioms. Do not use the quotations. You use quotations. You use idioms over here. Use good collocations. What are collocations? Collocations, the combination of words, the natural way of saying something. So when you enhance your vocabulary, don't focus on separate words. Focus on the way they are used in combination with other words. A very simple example, like we all are so much in the habit of using the word very. Oh, very good, very cold, very dark. But imagine now somebody says, oh, yesterday we had electricity failure at our place and it was very cold and it was very dark. Now here you use some other words, use the right collocation. It was pitch dark and freezing cold or biting cold. That way if you use, it'll sound better. So that's what you need to focus on. And of course, pronunciation. Now when it comes to pronunciation, every day take about 20 words, listen to their pronunciation, online pronunciation, and practice. Practice, you'll slowly come to know, okay, oh, it's not determine, it's determine. And when we say determine, how we stress in Hindi, Punjabi, or any other language, we do not put more stress on one part of the word, but in English we do. And all that is considered here, like water. So we open more our mouth more for the one part of the word. So just focus on these things. This is not accent. Here your accent is not seen. Clarity in speech is seen. Correct pronunciation is seen. And of course, modulate your speech. It should not be the same monotone. That's how it has to be. And you can practice. You can take all these practice tests. All are free. You can come to learning site also. And you can practice. Now, do you have any questions? Anybody who would like to ask me something, you can unmute yourself or you can post it in the chat box also. Anybody? Anything you wish to ask me? At Learning, we have the online IELTS classes, or we also have the spoken English classes. And we've even started group discussions, personal interview, all that practice is also there. But if you think that you need help, you can always approach, right? But any question now, anything you want me to answer? Anybody?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, what do we mean by paraphrasing? Some experts said that paraphrasing means replacing the word with the synonyms. Is it the correct thing?
Paraphrasing, synonym is one way of paraphrasing.
Okay.
You say the same thing in different words.
Okay. Ma'am, we need to play with the words or we need to replace each and every word with its synonym?
No, you don't have to replace each and every word. Say the same thing in a different manner.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, can you give me some example?
Yes. Let's look at what comes to my mind is something related to. Okay, let's look at pandemic. We all are familiar with the word pandemic now.
Yes,
so let's look at the word pandemic. So if somewhere you get the word pandemic, can I use the annotate over here to type? No, I don't think so. Okay. Pandemic, everybody's familiar with the word pandemic. What does the word pandemic mean? Can you tell me? You asked me a question.
Yes, ma'am. The disease that has spread over, ma'am, large. Ma'am, it's infestation is over large
Cross
area.
boundaries. See,
Yes, ma'am.
remember, endemic means found in one particular area. Epidemic means something that spreads fast in any area. Pandemic is it's crossed boundaries, pan across the world, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So pandemic, it's a disease that has spread across the world. If you put it this way, now here we are not using a synonym, but we are using a phrase or a clause to say the same thing in different words, right? You have
Okay.
to just say the same thing in different words. That's what you need to do. And there, if you can use good vocabulary, nothing like it. But yes, say the same thing in different words. Across the world, you can say worldwide.
Yes, ma'am.
So use different words. Crucial word is there. Somewhere, suppose problem is there, you can use the word issue. So synonyms are there, but then you can also use different phrases, a different way of saying the same thing. That's how it should be. That will show that you have understood the question and you can present it in your own words.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
So sometimes if you get the question in one sentence, you may have two sentences to say the same thing, right? That can also be there. Okay, somebody's asked me, Chahat has asked me, how academic test is different from general test. Well, Chahat, listening is similar in both. Speaking is also similar. So listening and speaking tests are similar in both academic and general. Writing task 2 is also similar, but in the writing test, task 1 is different. In the general test, you get a letter. Letter can be formal, informal, or semi-formal. But again, you write at least 150 words. The word limit and all, it's same over there. And then how you get the band score, that's also similar in writing. Uh, then what else is different? Reading is different. In general, in section 1, you can get up to 4 or 5 short texts in section, and they're very general. In section, they can be as general as something like the notices that we read in the newspapers, that way. And in section 2, you get 2 passages, 2 texts, but they are work related. Can be about the policies of an organization or the process of applying for a job. So something as simple as this. Section 3, you get 1 long passage, the way you get in academic, but it's more general in nature. It can be even an excerpt from any novel too. Now, when it comes to the band score, reading band score, yes. So if general reading is simpler, but then the band score accordingly, you get a different one. There's a difference of 1 for the same number of correct answers. If in academic you get 7 band score, in general you get 6 band score. So that difference is there. Okay, I've got another question. What are semi-formal letters? Okay, that's informal. We are with our friends, relatives, near and dear ones. We are not at all formal. We are informal, right? Hi, like if you are my friend, I can just say, hi Ashish, and I start writing the letter. Take care. That's the way I can end the letter also. But if it's a formal letter, like when you apply, you do not even know the person. Let me just talk about all 3 then. You do not know whom you are writing. You do not know whether the person is a male or a female. You don't know this much also. So how are you going to start? Dear sir or madam, you start this way. Then obviously in the first paragraph, you introduce yourself, but not by giving your name, that my name is Chahat or my name is Ashish, not this way. I'm a 3rd-year student at so-and-so place. That's the way you introduce. According to the situation, you introduce yourself and you give reasons for writing. Why are you writing to that person whom you don't even know? Is it in response to any advertisement or what is it? So you give reasons for writing in the first paragraph and you introduce yourself. Remember, Introduction, not by giving your name, but according to the situation. If it's to a bank manager, then you are an account holder there. What's your account number? That becomes your introduction. And then how do you end it? Obviously, you do not know the name. You do not even know whether the person is a male or a female. When we address somebody as dear sir or madam, without knowing who the person is, we always end it putting yours faithfully. Yours faithfully. Remember, yours, the first word starts with a capital letter. The second starts with a small one, faithfully. And you put your full name. Now coming to semi-formal, what you asked me. Semi-formal letter is written to somebody whom you know, but then you do not know, like you are not friendly, you do not know that person that well as you know your friends and all. So it can be your boss, your colleagues, especially your boss. If you write a semi-formal letter, your neighbor, semi-formal letter. So friends come in a different category. Here, semi-formal is in different ones. But semi-formal letter, you don't introduce yourself in the first paragraph, but you definitely, in all letters, whether informal, semi-formal, or formal, first paragraph always includes reasons for writing. And then there are 3 bullet points given to you in the question. 3 points are given to you. That means you must, in your letter, you must include those. Ensure that you answer each bullet point in a separate paragraph. So the first paragraph includes reasons for writing. Maybe suppose you send a gift to somebody. So that person writes to you, okay, thank you for the gift. Or I just received the gift. It's beautiful. First paragraph, reasons for writing, even in an informal letter. Second, third, and fourth paragraphs, 3 answers to 3 different bullet points. Please do it this way. And then you have a leave, like last is just one liner, looking forward to meeting you, or take care, or I'll be back on so and so date, whatever it is, or looking forward to joining, whatever it may be. You put that at the end, and then in a formal one, yours faithfully. Informal, it can be lovingly, your take care, lots of love, see you soon. Anyway, semi-formal, it can be kind regards. It can also be yours sincerely. Anything you can write. Remember, the first word starts with a capital letter. The second word starts with a small letter. That's how it is. Okay, so I've got now, which question? Is there any difference in IELTS exam conducted by IDP and British Council? Well, there's no difference. Those who get a better band score in IDP start saying that IDP is better. Those who get a better band score in British Council one start saying that that is better. Both are the conducting bodies, so they are similar. Okay, then I've got another question. Is it mandatory to score in IELTS? European countries, yes, they ask for it. Even if you go to work there, you go for higher studies, they ask for it, but please find out. Still find out. But yes, if you're going from a non-native English-speaking country to an English-speaking country, they are going to make some, they're going to have some parameters, something to judge your level of English. So there can be other exams also. So you find out whether IELTS is needed wherever you're going or not. But most of them take IELTS. Okay, then I've got another question. Tips to start your cue card topic. Don't have a cliched beginning. For example, somebody whose dress sense impresses you. Or it can be anything, any house that you would like. There are many people who dress well, but today I would like to talk about so and so. No, this is such a cliched one. It's a common one. Have your unique style. Every time, for every question, have your unique style. Right? Like if it's about dress, you can always start this way. One person whom I admire a lot, on every occasion I meet, is so and so, so and so. Start this way. I would love to share something about my friend so and so. You can start this way also. So suppose a house that you would like to live in. It's always been my dream to live in a house, and then talk about that house, what kind of house, right? Every time, another way of beginning the same thing. Every time I see a house or a villa or maybe a flat of this kind in a movie, I start dreaming about it. And that's the kind of house I would love to live in. Remember, house is independent house, flat is different, apartments are different in English, no? Uh, Unique style. Have your unique way of beginning. So not that there are many people, there are many actors, there are many this thing, and today I would like to talk about, no, that's a cliched one. You, even in writing tasks also, have your own way of putting something. You do not get more points when you start copying somebody. So have your own unique style, but at the same time, follow the criteria. That's needed. Any question? Anybody else? And you need more help, let me also just talk a little bit about Learning. So you need more help, you can come to learning.com. You can write to me. This is my email ID. Any questions? Anybody? I hope I've answered your questions. You posted some questions over here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this conducting this wonderful session, and this was very informative, and it can be gauged from the fact that students, it was so interactive and so many questions during session as well as at the end of the session. So thanks, and thank you all the.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, students, for making this webinar a excellent one by your active participation. And at the end, I would like to thank my coordinators, Venus and Gurveer. So thank you one and all. Thanks.